Hello, this is Professor Brown-Sederberg, and I want to just take some time to demonstrate what I call flushing a line. Very often, when you write a program that asks for user input, it'll compile just fine, but then when you run it, it doesn't run the way you expect. It skips over allowing the user to enter the information as requested in your program. So here I've got a simple program that declares two strings, first name and last name, and then an int age. And I ask the user to enter in their first name, I gather it in with next line, and save it into first name. I ask for their age, gather it in with next int, save it into age, and then ask for their last name, gather it in through next line, and save it into last name. I then print out the information entered by the user with some other information. So this will compile just fine. And then when we run it, remember we're going to be asked for our first name, our age, and our last name. So as we run it, we'll enter in Mickey. And so Mickey enters in the first name as asked. We press enter. We're asked for our age. I'll enter in 55. And then we should be asked for our last name. We see that right there. We should be asked for our last name, gathered in, and then echoed back. The first name, the last name, and the age. I'll press enter, and we'll see what happens is it prints to the screen the line asking me to enter my last name, but it doesn't allow me to do so. It goes on to the next command line that prints out hello Mickey, and remember right here should be the last name. There's no value though for it because I haven't been given the opportunity to enter it, and it prints out the 55 that I entered in as the age. Something's happening here. It's skipping over this next line. It seems to be just something's wrong here. What's wrong is this. When I call the method next line, it reads everything on the line and brings the read head waiting for the next bit of information. It reads everything on the line, including the return key. When I call the method next int, it reads the next int, but then sits there. It doesn't read the return key. When I then call next line, this next line, it grabs just the return key. It grabs that return key and saves that into, in this example, last name. There's nothing there. It grabs nothing. And so then when I print the first name and try to print it, there's nothing there. It's just nothing there to be printed. Notice that there's an extra space right there. Well, the extra space is just because I put spaces in here. It's not because of the return key. It's just this, it just zips over this last name. There's nothing there. See, there's an extra space. Now, how do we get around this? Well, the way we get around it is what we call flushing the line. And that is right here after this next int that grabs the int as entered by the user but then sits there. What we want to do is have keyboard, that instance of the class scanner, call the method next line. And what it will do is it will flush the line. That is, it'll just take that return key and return it back, but I'm not storing it anywhere. I just get rid of that return key so I get the read head in a position that it'll correctly read the next line. So let's compile this and then run it. And we see that I'm asked for my first name, my age, and here I am given the opportunity to enter in the last name, and it prints it as I instructed it to the screen. So what's happened here is I have had to flush the line right here after this read of next int that just grabbed the int but stayed there. The read head stays there. And so then when I call next line, this next line doesn't grab what's entered by the user. It grabs the return key that was left after this int was read. So if you ever have a situation where your program asks for input, but as it runs, after it compiles fine, when it runs, it skips over giving the user that opportunity to enter information. Look for a phenomenon like this, that you have mixed these types, that you have, let's say as in this example, an int, a line read, and then an int, and then another line. As I mix types, this can happen quite often. And the solution is just to call this next line flush the line out, get the read head to where you expect it to be. Thank you.